I feel like a lot of what takes place in our culture is, it's become trendy to self-destruct. Self-hate in our culture is such a trend, especially in hip-hop music. A lot of regurgitated messages of, killing each other and just doing foul acts to each other. And it's like, I feel like if we ever gonna really, progress and move, first of all, I believe that music is one of the most powerful forces in the world, next to love, right? You got love, then you got music, which is sound, essentially. So I feel like if we're ever gonna really make a conscious change and a conscious shift in our nation as Black people, it starts with the music. It starts with the messages that's being programmed into our babies. Because, the subconscious mind or children, they can't tell the difference. They growing up and the glorification of everything was going on, the toxicity in our culture is being championed. So why wouldn't they want to continue that, as they grow up? And I just like to use myself as an instrument or a beacon of the other way. Like pretty much what I've been doing since a kid. Everybody on that, like, let's do this.
Well, at the very basic level of it, I feel my mission is to inspire others, especially the forthcoming generations. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a Tupac quote that always resonated with me. Like he said, he doesn't know if he'll be the one to change the world, but he can guarantee that he will spark a mind that will. That always resonated with me because I feel like I carry that in a way. You know what I'm saying? Is I'm here to do my piece, to make my contribution, and in everything that I do, that I fight for, the integrity that I reserve for myself, I hope that stands as a good example for, those to come, you know what I'm saying, especially young Black men like myself.
So when you used to enter Edward R. Murrow at the front entrance, as soon as you come in and you make a right, there's a wall of famous alumni. And, Basquiat's name was obviously there, Adam Yauch from the Beastie Boys, Little Mama, just amongst a few of notable names. But I used to always see that. I remember the first day of school looking at that board and being like, my name's gonna be there one day.
Well, firstly is this realization, right? This ultimate realization of understanding that you have to seek internally. You know what I'm saying? It's more about an internal retreat. And, going to your point about like the world that we live in today, everything is so external. You know what I'm saying? Like people put an emphasis on these things that are outside of ourselves, which are like, symbols of power or success or whatever it may be that like, drives a person's desire. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely about understanding that firstly, and, making sure that you keep yourself on that path of maintaining your own individual internal power and filling your own cup. You know what I'm saying?
Like, again, I was raised with the mentality of be a leader, not a follower. So I'm like, okay, they all my older cousins, uncles, they doing that. Let me be different. You know what I mean? I was always inspired to be different, and that's something that my mom's instilled in me from young. One of the words that really helped me out of my depression was abundance. Abundance and affirmation, you know what I'm saying? Like those two words single-handedly helped me. But I say abundance. Abundance is such a powerful word because abundance is something that we all have. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it could be measured differently, but we all have abundance. You know what I'm saying? We have the abundance of life every day. From the moment that we wake up and we're able to breathe, we're able to walk, we're able to, see, we're able to hear. Like, these things are abundance. You know what I mean? Once you can accept that on a day-to-day basis, it's like life kind of starts to open up for you. It's like, yeah, you might not have the most money, but you're abundant. Both of you guys are abundant in some area more than me. You know what I mean? And it's like, whatever that area is, it doesn't even matter. The fact is that we are plentiful. You know what I'm saying? And that's the right foot to step on once you walk out of bed. It's giving thanks for the fact that you have options. You know what I'm saying? You could pick this job or you could pick that job. You could go left or you could go right. You know what I'm saying? That alone is such a great gift. You know what I mean? And once I started to accept that, it was like,
wow, like I reprogrammed my whole subconscious.
Just that mindset was always present in self, you know what I'm saying? To just dare to be different, you know what I'm saying? And challenge myself.
And, you know, these things, I believe that everybody's path is unique. Like, one of the main lessons that I'm learning in life right now is that you have to give everyone their own time to have their own realizations. You know what I'm saying? And I know you can relate to this because, you know, I feel like people like us, we get so excited when we get introduced to new information that, you know, we immediately apply to ourselves and it helps us advance and evolve. And it's like the first thing we want to do is share that with our loved ones. Like, yo, let me put you on. You know what I'm saying? It's funny because I learned an interesting life lesson from the real version of this plant, which is called a bird of paradise, right? So like when these are sprouting new leaves, they're kind of like rolled up like this, and you could like see them coming through. So my first plant, like I'm like a whole green thumb type of dude now. So like I got like 50 house plants or something like that. Like anyway, so my first joint that I had, my first bird of paradise that I had, I got so excited when I was seeing like, you know, it sprouted no leaves that I tried to unravel it. You know, because like I was waiting like 2 weeks and I'm like, yo, why does joint want to unravel? Maybe it needs some help. You know what I'm saying? I'm so excited for its growth and its progression that I unraveled it for it. The next day that leaf died. You know what I'm saying? And it taught me a valuable lesson. Like right there, I was like, damn, I do that with people all the time. Shit, man.
It's now like 40% or something?
Absolutely, you know, there's less innovation happening. And don't get me wrong, it's like, you know, I don't want to come off as somebody who's like, oh, like, because a lot of this stuff is people communicating their real life stories. You know what I mean? But after a while, it goes beyond communicating your life story and perpetuating a behavior. You know what I'm saying? I feel like just once you make it somewhere at a certain point in your life where you're able to avoid situations of the past that you couldn't avoid before, then you need to speak towards that. And you need to feed that energy into people to get to that place rather than staying where they're at.
Correct.
When you're like, you know, living in a mansion or you got 7 bodyguards, you know what I'm saying? And you still talking like you the dude on the block who, yeah, so.
What I'll say is this, like, a lot of the times, right, like, it's good to be exact with what you want to manifest, right? And the example that I use is, like, you got to be exact with the universe or with God or, you know, whatever it is that you call in the source, whatever it is that you're connected to.
I mean, that's why faith is so important, you know. I believe when it comes to, like, you know, manifestation and pushing yourself closer to the things that you want, it's a combination of faith, determination, and action.
I mean, essentially the same thing, you know, is living at a heightened state, an enlightened state of mind, and, you know, just really ultimately connected to your higher self and living every day fully in service to what your purpose is or to that, what that higher power is. You know what I mean? Where every act is devoted to that. I feel like that's one of the highest levels you can get to in this realm, like as a human being, is to be in a full state of submission to the higher.
Mm-hmm. You might get impatient, but it's like, are you doing all the things though? Mm-hmm. Or are you just expecting? You know what I mean? Like when it comes to manifestation, say the dream is in California, but you in New York, you gotta meet God in Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? It's like a halfway thing. You can't just
be
sitting in New York like, when my flight gonna get here? Like, nah, you gotta push yourself too.
What I've learned from even being specific is sometimes, you know, it's like, how can I explain it? It's like if you're fishing, right, and you got this big net, your goal might be, oh, I'm gonna catch 13 fish, but you catch 11. You know what I'm saying? It's like, sometimes you gotta accept that that's just the way it's meant to be. What is meant for you won't miss you. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever misses you wasn't meant for you. You know what I mean? And that's what I would say I've learned from, you know, manifesting.
Just pretty much realizing that the only way to truly be our most progressive, fully functioning selves is to not take for granted or to sleep on the aspect of time.
What I learned about the film industry right away, just from high school, was that trying to make it as an actor in New York would be really difficult. You know what I'm saying? It's like finding a needle in a haystack. So I thought, you know what? I already got this music thing going. I'm gonna double back. I'm gonna do what I gotta do here. I'm gonna focus on this egg in this basket, and I'm gonna come back later with leverage.
Time is the only currency we can't get back.
You have to allow space for the universe or God or whatever it is that you call it to run its course. You know what I'm saying? If the people who are frustrated, they're more mad that they can't have the whole thing in their control. You know what I'm saying? That's why like prayer is super important and is a vital aspect of manifesting, because it's like you're programming your subconscious to think a certain way, to feel a certain way every day. You know what I mean? It's like you're accepting the fact that you're abundant. Even though you don't have the things that you want, you may have the things that you need, you know what I'm saying, to get to where you want. You know what I mean? And that just allows for a smooth sailing flow. There's no blocks in the road, you know what I mean? You allow for yourself to flow freely, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just a few things that I've learned over the years, you know, like I don't get worked up anymore if I miss a goal or if I miss a check on my list or my goal list, you know what I'm saying? I just look at it like, okay, you know, maybe it just wasn't meant to happen this way. But because I stay prayed up, I stay faithful, you know what I'm saying, knowing that I'm either gonna get something better or maybe I just need to write a new goal, you know what I mean? Maybe that just wasn't.
It's also like, you know, people gotta understand they have to increase the rapport with themselves. You know what I'm saying? You have to prove to yourself who you are. Even when, like, you know, going back to goals, right? A lot of people year after year set these goals and then they come back to their list at the end of the year and like all of these goals are not completed. And then what happened? Silently, subconsciously, they're beating themselves up.
Chastisement.
They're beating the shit out of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And what that's doing is destroying the rapport that you have with yourself. So now, every time you don't meet those things, you get further and further away from believing in your own power. You know what I'm saying? It's the opposite of encouragement. It's discouragement. You know what I'm saying? So we have to get better at setting these checkpoints or these tasks for ourselves and, you know, forming that relationship with self that you can get certain things done.
My biggest pivot was when I made myself the priority.
There's a quote that resonates with me. Best things in life are on the opposite side of it. You know, and I can say every time I've leaned into a fear of mine, there's been nothing but the feeling of progress or success on the other side of that. You know, like instantaneously, you know what I mean? Like a instant life boost. You know what I'm saying? From facing.
But that was definitely by far my biggest pivot. And that's the message that I like to try to give to the youth, especially the Black youth, because I feel like the way that we come up and the way that we're raised is so much survivor's guilt instilled in us from an early age. You know, you feeling bad about making it because all the other people around you not making it, or you got a lot of people to help out. And what that does for a lot of us is it creates some type of inertia. It becomes too heavy of a burden and you actually don't get nowhere because you pour from this empty cup. So once I started pouring more inward, not only did I have more to share with others, I never get dehydrated now. You know what I'm saying? I'm never empty. Like, I always have something to replenish myself from. And, you know, I strongly believe that if you're not good, nothing that you do or create can be great. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta take care of you first. And that's with everything. That's with parenting, that's with career, that's with love. You know, you gotta make sure you in a state where you can provide and nurture for self before you provide and nurture for others in the world.
You know what I'm saying? And essentially we all have our own unique struggles. You know what I'm saying? Like at the very basic level of it, we all struggle, but we struggle differently. all our struggles look different. The same way all of our perfections look different. You know what I'm saying? I think the perfection is in knowing and discovering what it is that you can do that nobody else can. Because I feel like life is a series of small wins and tiny breakthroughs, and all they do is compound. And a lot of people, especially our people, I feel like are so foreign to the idea of compound. Compound interest is not just a money term. It's actually a thought term more than anything. Because you got to compound your thoughts the right way. You got to consistently, persistently think in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, the distance between Earth and the moon can be broken down to a matter of inches when you really think about it. So every day you got to inch forward to the right direction. And like, you know, after 6 months, those inches are meters, are feet, are yards, are miles. You know what I'm saying? But it's like most people cannot, they don't have that long-term play instilled in their minds. It's all instant. It's like, what can I get right now? What can I see right now in front of my face?
My message to the youth will be to stay true to yourself. You know, don't be afraid to lean into your fears, into the unknown, because on the opposite side of that is the most beautiful things in life. You know what I'm saying? If you're scared of ocean swimming, like I am, go ocean swimming, you know what I mean? Like, I will conquer the ocean one day. I'm gonna be a surfer. When I'm 35, I'm gonna be surfing and shit in Malibu, watch. But yeah, you know, man, just go for it. Just go for it, especially while you're young, you know? While you're still living underneath your parents' roof, that's where you have the most opportunity to fuck up, to make mistakes, get up, do it again. Man, go for it. Don't hesitate. You know what I'm saying? Don't hesitate. Get your head out of these devices and live life. Live your motherfucking life. You know what I'm saying? They say that you only live once, but that's wrong. You die once and you live every day. So live every day and make it count.